Make sure you do this one thing over the Christmas break to easily set you up to double your revenue in your business in 2025. Hello and welcome to Full Body Yes Sales, the podcast where we show you how to make more sales than ever in your online business in a way that feels authentic, empowering, and feels completely aligned with how you want to do business. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the channel. So there's a lot of talk at this time of year going around on the things you should be doing, the planning you should be doing, the vision boards you should be creating, all of the things that are going to set you up for success in 2025. But to be honest, as a business coach of several years who's worked with over 100 clients, I think there's really only one thing that you actually need to be doing. Everything else is amazing. It's fun. It's a nice little activity. But I think really if you're going to be doing one thing over this Christmas break and just putting one project on your to-do list, it is this, because I think this is the thing which actually moves the needle and which I see time and time again when me and my clients have worked on this. This has been the major thing that has actually shifted their results in their business. It's so simple, but I haven't yet seen anyone talking about it. So what is this thing which I'm talking about? This thing which I want you to be doing over the Christmas break to set yourself up for 2025 is actually mapping out a step-by-step client flow, something which is easily trackable, which you can easily optimize, but essentially just giving you a bird's eye view of, okay, how are people coming into my world? How are they being nurtured? And then how are they actually buying my offer? Now, we can really see this as a client flow because it moves through like a flow kind of process. There are 3 stages which you really want to be looking at here, and you can map them out. You can draw them out on paper right now. If you grab a piece of paper and just have 3 columns, you can map this out of that flow of what it actually looks like for you. And I would really encourage you to start by actually mapping out what it currently looks like for you. Even if you think, but I don't have a client flow right now, or but it's really unorganized. If you were to write out right now, how do people come into your world? How do people find you? How do people get nurtured? How do they actually buy from you in the end? What is that process? If you were to map that out right now, that is so helpful because you can see where those gaps are specifically. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what that actually looks like so you can map that out. Even just think through it in your head, you'll notice where the gaps are and it starts to make sense and become really obvious why you aren't maybe hitting your current revenue goals right now, and what you actually need to do to make sure you are going to hit them next year. So this can really be split into 3 stages, and I talk about this sales process a lot. I've talked about it before in videos, but essentially it's audience, leads, sales. So with this, we are starting with the audience. That is, how are people coming into your space? That's how are they first finding you? How are they first meeting you? That is, where is your traffic coming from? Where are we actually growing an audience? All of those questions are answered in that section. So if you were to ask yourself right now, okay, how am I growing an audience? How am I getting new people into my space? What am I actively doing there? What are those things? And list those out. That could be, I have a YouTube channel and people are finding me through there. It could be I have an Instagram account and I'm growing followers through that. It could be I'm doing collaborations with people and I'm getting new people coming in through those. And this is a really, really important section here because I know, for example, with myself, when I did this exercise about a year ago, I realized that actually this was probably the part I was missing the most. I was really good at the nurturing side, really good at the sales side, but in terms of how people were coming into my space, I only really had my Instagram account at that time, so sure, people were finding me through there, but I knew if I was wanting to double my sales, I wasn't actually having enough people coming in at that point to make those numbers make sense, essentially. So actually I had to really look at this traffic side of, okay, how can I increase this? And that looked like me showing up in more places. That looked like me showing up in Facebook groups more actively and in communities. That looked like me creating this YouTube channel to actually make sure that I was getting new people coming in from different sources. So where are people finding you? That's the first thing I want you to list of where are they coming from right now? Just note down where are those different places. How well are those working as well? Is there a main one for you? Are there some which are, not super utilized, but occasionally you'll get people through there? Make a note of those right now. Now, the second step here is leads. So this is the middle piece, and this is super important because this is how we are nurturing people. So sure, we've got now people coming into our audience. We know there's eyes on us. Our ideal client is in our space, but they're not necessarily just going to buy. There's that piece in the middle where they're nurtured, where they're essentially learning to know, like, and trust us. And this can be a lot of places. For example, with me, it is very much my email list. So they're getting on that email list through a freebie opt-in. So there's that freebie opt-in in the nurture phase there. And they are joining my email list. They're receiving emails from me. I also have this YouTube channel, which is a really great place for nurturing because, I mean, if you're watching, a 20-minute video from me every single week, that's a pretty nice kind of nurture place there. So any long form content is really nice for that. Any of your Instagram posts, which you're putting out, for example, they are nurturing people. So what do you have in terms of your marketing and your strategy around that to actually nurture people? List those things down in that middle column. And then the third step, as you guessed, is sales. So this is how we actually converting people. How are we getting people to go from watching our things, from really liking the content, to actually buying from us? This can look like I promote my services each week and I'll talk about them at the end of my emails and how they can work with me and give them the link to sign up. This can look like I'll promote that I have discovery calls and share that with people. This can look like I have a certain sale on where I'm doing, a sale every few months where I give a certain discount on my offers. Any of those things work really well. It can be, even I have a masterclass and at the end of that masterclass, I'll be promoting my offer. What are your strategies in terms of how you're selling your offers essentially? So for example, with me, what that looks like for me right now is I will very much be talking about my services on email and Instagram as well. So I'm very actively promoting my coaching services there and how people can work with me there, giving them the link to sign up for a discovery call in that place as well. And also, I will do sprinkle throughout the year 2 things which are very strategic for me in signing one-to-one clients. That is, I will do small, low-cost events, challenges, things like that. So for example, I have the sales challenge running right now, which is a 3-month challenge to sell each day in your business. And I have that, which is a really nice way of people getting into my world as just a very low cost, okay, let's see what this girl's about. Let's just try out her services in a way before I'd make the jump and work with her in a high ticket offer, for example. So that's a really helpful way that I sell my one-to-one coaching. And also I'll do free masterclasses throughout the year as well, which again are really great ways to get people coming in because I will be pitching my offer at the end of those, usually with some kind of discount, some kind of incentive, anything like that. Now, as you're going through this, you're probably noticing there's one area at least where you just know you're not doing quite what you could be doing there. And you know that it's missing a little bit, and that is completely okay. That's kind of what we want because that's really helpful. It gives us the really obvious place that we should be spending our time and effort and should be adding things to in 2025. Because again, a lot of us are looking at what do we want to add in for 2025, and there's no point in you adding in a new email newsletter series, for example, if you don't have any traffic coming in the first place, who's going to get on that email series and you're already all good in the nurturing area. So have a look at which of those areas you kind of need a little bit more work in. And then you want to think, okay, what strategies can I potentially add in to fill up that gap where I know people are dropping off at this certain point? Now, if you are as well thinking, but Lauren, I don't even know what I would add in. I don't know what's the most obvious choice for me. I don't know what's a good strategy that's actually going to get me results here. I have something special for you. I've put a link in the description to sign up for a one-to-one intensive with me. I literally just have 2 of these spaces opening once this video drops. So they are probably going to get filled quite fast. The link will be taken away once they are filled. So if the link is still there, then there's still one of them open. And inside this intensive, you get 2 one-hour calls with me. You have messenger support as well between these calls, and you get my signature freedom-based business playbook, which we will fill out together to essentially give you this map of your business so you can go into 2025 being crystal clear on exactly what you need to do, exactly where you need to spend your time, and the strategies that are actually going to get you to doubling your income in 2025. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description to schedule one of those in. If you just fill in your details there, then I will email you and we'll schedule the time in for early January or mid-January, and we will plan out 2025 together. So back to this client process map then. Step 2 is we really want to simplify your funnel here essentially, because this is your funnel. We can call it process, we can call it a funnel, whichever word you want to pick, but this is how people are coming into your space. So we want to simplify this. So a lot of people, it'll be quite bulky in some areas. So I'll often notice when we're looking at this, when I'm looking at this with a client, for example, that there's typically one area that's really short of where it really needs to be. And we're not getting the right people coming in through that step because we just don't have much going on in that step. We're kind of missing it a little bit. But there'll be some others that are just really, really bulky essentially. So for example, it may be that, okay, I am not actually selling my offer a lot. There's not a lot of ways that people can actually hear about working with me. So I actually need more in the sales area. However, for the nurture one, I am putting out a ridiculous amount of content. I don't need this much content, right? I need to focus more on actually selling and actually selling that offer because I know people are nurtured. I just need to sell to them. So actually we can take away a little bit in that area and add a little bit more into the sales area, for example. So really take a look at, okay, where, now that we've got this mapped out, you can see very clearly then you've got this nice overview picture of, okay, where is this maybe a little bit too bulky? I'm spending just too much time in this area, and where do I need to spend a little bit more time so we can kind of rebalance this? And this can look like really just simplifying some of those areas and just optimizing them and just making them a little bit easier for you to manage. Now, the fun part with a funnel as well is it does not need to be complicated. You don't actually need a lot of steps at each stage. You don't need I have a YouTube platform, I have an Instagram, I have Facebook, I have a Twitter as well. You don't need all of this bulk essentially. You can very easily have a simple funnel with one thing at each stage. You could absolutely do that. I would say absolutely going into 2025, depending on how confident you are with one thing in each, if not have two in each, but really streamline how you're promoting your offers essentially. So again, when I broke down what mine looks like, it's actually really, really simple going into 2025, right? I have a really clear plan in place of how I'm actually signing clients, of how I'm getting people coming in. It's not bulked out with a lot of different platforms just for the sake of it. You can very easily pick one specific funnel, just one thing for each of those stages, or two things, and have a really thriving business with that, because again, that gives you more time and energy to focus on each of those. So I would say if you are earlier in your business and you're not really confident that the one thing you pick would work well because you don't know yet, we don't have the data and the information to see if it is going to work well for you, pick a couple things for each one and simplify down to the point where you've got a couple of ones at each stage of how this can actually happen. If you are super confident though, if you've done this before and you can look at your data and see, actually, 70% of my clients are coming through this certain sales action, or 75% of my new audience members are coming through this specific action in terms of the audience section here. Actually, you can probably afford to simplify down and actually put your focus fully into what you can see is working really, really well. If you're thinking, okay, but it just sounds too simple. Could that really work and be that effective? I'm gonna give you an example of what that could look like just from some client experiences. So your stage of audience could be filled with, okay, I'm gonna post on Instagram, that's gonna be my primary platform, but I'm gonna really focus on audience growth here. I'm trying to focus on reach. I'm intentionally trying to, follow the trending audios, create the trends, all of those things to actually grow my audience here. I'm gonna make really good content focused on growth. That's the audience piece. So we know that's growing. We know new people are coming in through there. Then for the leads piece, it could be I have a free masterclass and I'm gonna consistently promote this free masterclass to get people to sign up for. I know it works. I know people want this concept because I consistently get signups when I'm actually promoting it. So I'm gonna have this as my middle piece here. And then for that third step of sales, what I'm gonna do is specifically focus on selling my offer at the end of that masterclass then. So my goal is get as many followers on Instagram as I can, essentially as much reach as I can for my ideal clients specifically. Number two, send them all to this masterclass, get them all going to this masterclass. All routes lead to the masterclass. Essentially, we're really aiming towards everyone going there. And number three, give them a very limited time offer with bonuses, with incentives at the end of this masterclass then to work with me. That can work really, really well as a funnel. I've got clients who that works very, very well for. And also, if you don't know if people would sign up for your masterclass, if you're not sure if it's proven, if people are actually going to be interested, of course, give yourself something else. We're not trying to put all your eggs in one basket unless we know that basket is actually going to hold, if you're following the analogy still. But essentially then you can make it really, really simple for yourself, and you could even do that and then add another funnel underneath that. And then you've just got 2 steps at each stage essentially, which can work really, really nicely for you. So again, it can be simple. You don't need 5 different things in each of those columns. You shouldn't have 5 different things in each of those columns. If you have that right now and you've mapped out your current process and it has 5 things or 3 things or 4 things, then simplify those down and look at where do you actually want to be spending the majority of your time. It's not saying you have to give up on a certain platform, but maybe just spend less time there. Maybe that can be less of your main focus in your business this year. And then the third thing I want to talk about, because this is really important as you're going through the year, to make sure, as I said, this is what actually helps you to double your income in 2025 and not just something which, gets you some results but doesn't really work that well, is you need to be tracking this as you're going through. So as you're going through the year, as you're, gone through January, gone through February, gone through March, do a review of this and actually go through, okay, looking at my map, which I've put together, which I've drawn out here. Okay, I can see that 3 months in, this one is working really well because I planned, follower growth on Instagram was going to be a way that I grew my audience section. Okay, that's working really well because I've grown by 500 followers, for example. Or we can see on the other hand, it hasn't really worked well because I've barely grown by any followers. So although that's in my list for the audience section, it's not actually working very well. So maybe I need to add something else in because I'm not getting new audience members coming through this path, for example. So if you can actually look at each of these steps essentially and really break it down to, okay, how well is this actually working? And the things that aren't working that well, it's time to add something in. And again, if you're doing this 3 months into the year, for example, and you've got a note already in your calendar that at the end of March, we're wanting to reassess this, then actually it means you have time to pivot. So we're really just following what the numbers are telling us. And it's literally not going to not work then because we're just following the data. We're not trying to do one strategy for the sake of doing one strategy because it worked for someone else. We are actually seeing what is working for you. And then similarly, for the things that you see are working, the things that you see are getting the results, great, let's do more of those things. If you can see that that masterclass you created is absolutely, everyone loves it, everyone is signing up for this, then amazing. We should be talking about this more, right? We should be focusing more on this. But if you can see not many people are signing up after that and the conversion rate is really low when you're selling your offer in that final sales section there, then actually maybe the pitch needs to be redone. Maybe we can look at why people aren't signing up. Is there anything we're missing, etc. And again, it's this kind of approach, which is why my clients get such consistent results, because I'm not telling you go and do one specific strategy. I'm just giving you the framework to figure out the strategies that are actually working for you, figure out what isn't working, and get something in place which is going to get you results. And if you're following this, it's hard not to get results, right? Because you're literally just following the numbers. You're literally just testing things out and seeing what is working, doing more of what is working, doing less of what isn't working. It's kind of hard to not get results with that. So that is why this approach works so well, because we're not just following what we're thinking is going to be trendy right now, what has worked for other people and other businesses. We're really creating something for you based on your specific business and keeping it really simple as well, because you've got that framework to follow essentially. So again, don't forget, if you are looking at this strategy to one thinking, okay, what do I even add in? I want some ideas on, what could this even look like for me? How can I improve this certain area? How can I actually, do something which really makes sense to me? And you want to walk this through with someone who has done this with over 100 clients of hers, then I have the link in my description to book a one-to-one intensive with me. If there's any still available, the link will still be there. So make sure you sign up ASAP because there are literally just 2 available. And once they're gone, they are gone. They will be for the new year. So you don't need to book it in right now, but you can just lock in your spot there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have been able to fully map out that process now and actually have a clear idea of what you're doing and where your focus and attention and energy is going into the new year as well. Make sure you subscribe as well, because I'm putting out a new video every single Monday to really help set you up for 2025, actually get planned and get ready to go in the most effective way possible over the next few weeks. And also going into January, how you can really kick off the year strong. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those videos, and I will see you in the next one.